What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Unemployed Cyclist. Today I'm off the bike. About 5.5 or 6 weeks ago, weeks ago this Saturday, I sprained my knee crashing my mountain bike. And so it's been kind of tough being cooped up inside. I'm starting week 8 of work from home on Monday with this whole COVID situation. So to keep the knee moving, I have been spinning. This is our workout room. I'll give you a tour if you really want it later. Super small, but I spin in here. My wife does yoga. So it's a pretty versatile little room that we took advantage of a roof leak to build. So what we're going to be looking at today is how I film everything on my road bike, how everything's mounted, what I use, what the hardware is. So I'm going to turn around and give you guys an idea. All right, so this is my road bike. It is a 2014 Cannondale CAD 10. It currently has full Ultegra R8000 on it, 2x11 setup, 175 mil cranks. I like the aluminum road bike. I'm also one to ride things for a very long time. My last bike lasted from 2005 to 2014 when I cracked it at the rear dropout. So the cameras that I use are a couple of GoPros. In the front, and what I'm filming on right now, is a GoPro Hero 7 Black. I film at 4K 24 on this because it just looks better, and I leave most everything on. The only thing I really turn down, I turn on Pro Tune, and then I turn down the auto sharpening that GoPro tends to do. It makes it look a little funny. You get some weird grain in the road, and when you're off-road, it really over sharpens a lot of things, and I don't like the look of that. So I tone down the sharpening. I don't really know how to color grade, so I just use GoPro Color. So that is how I film when I'm out on the road. How my rear camera is mounted, this is going to be a GoPro Hero 4 Black. I use the Hero 4 Black because I can't afford another 7. So what you're looking at here, I ride an aluminum seat post, and that's so I can have this little custom mount that I put on there. So what that is, that's made by K-Edge, and it is basically a surface mount for like skateboards. And so it has a couple of stainless steel sheet metal screws that are here and here. And so I drilled into my seat post, and I put some really gnarly epoxy between the K-Edge mount and my my seat post and screwed it down. This arm here, I got off Amazon, and it's designed for motorcycle selfies. You hang this off of the front of a motorcycle helmet, and then you can have that kind of angle where it's, if you bear with me, where you're kind of looking down at the motorcyclist as they're looking forward, so you can see kind of behind them as they're looking around. So the reason why I chose to go with this is I do ride with a saddlebag. I am one of those people that has a saddlebag. It allows me to carry everything and not really load up my pockets. What you see here is actually something that I've been using for a few years. I live in the San Fernando Valley, and if you don't know the West San Fernando Valley, it gets really hot over here. There are weeks on end in the summer where we hit 117 degrees. And so what I was running into is cameras overheating. Back when I was using front and rear Hero 4 Blacks, I just had them in the factory waterproof housing, and they would overheat when on those really hot days. I might get 15 minutes of battery runtime, whereas normally you get 45 minutes to an hour. So what the purpose of this is a heat sink. Prior to using this, I found it on Amazon. It's PULUZ is the brand that it is. I don't know how to pronounce that. But prior to starting to use these, I could barely hold the batteries. They were super hot and they would swell, and I actually lost some batteries because of swelling. They just wouldn't fit in the camera anymore. So after I started using these camera cages, the batteries were almost at ambient. And so it's a great way if you're running into battery issues or overheating issues with your GoPro, ditch the factory waterproof housing and get some aluminum housings for it. Now, the reason why I had to kludge together this kind of weird solution in the back of the bike is because of the way that at the time my bike fit was set up. So I'm 6'4". I have a long torso and kind of short legs. I wear 34 pants. I probably have a 32 or 33 inch inseam, depending on brand. And back when I was getting this all set up a few years back, my rails on my seat, the seat post was all the way to, I don't know if you can see my finger back here, all the way to this bend. And so I couldn't fit the K-Edge seat rail mount for a GoPro. And so that's why I had to kludge this together on the seat post with screws and this extension arm. I still would run this extension arm if I could use, and now I can use, the K-Edge for the seat rail mounts that would go right on this kind of bend, or right before the bend right here, because I would want this to clear my saddlebag. Now I've moved around to the front and I am filming on my Hero 7 Black, and so I don't have the cage mounted up to my bike. But I'm also using a K-Edge mount here, and this is their dual GPS/GoPro mount. It hooks onto your handlebars. I have it hooked on right next to my stem, and the camera actually hangs down here. And the current GoPros, current generations, automatically flip the camera angle so it's upright. I could also do it in software in post, but it is unimpeded. I don't get the hoods from my handlebars. Everything looks really cool from that angle, and it's a great way to see the ride as if you were riding it. And so that is the setup on the bike. I carry on long rides. I know there's a ride coming up that's going to be posted to the channel pretty soon where I ride to Malibu and back. I go out to Topanga Canyon, down PCH, and come back Malibu Canyon. The GoPro Hero 7 Black, I burn through 4.5 to 5 batteries on that kind of loop, about 2 hours and 45 minutes to 3 hours of riding. On the Hero 4 Black, it's like 10 to 12 batteries. And so I have to carry all of that stuff. That's where the saddlebag really comes into its own, is having that, my tubes, everything else that I need for my ride. I also run 128 gig SD cards. The only time I really run out of SD card space is when I do super long rides. Like I'm gonna try and do one this summer, the entire length of Mulholland Highway through Calabasas, out past the Rock Store to Leo Carrillo State Beach. It's a beautiful ride. I'm hoping that my knee cooperates and I can get back into shape enough to be able to do that soon. So that is how I currently have my filming set up for my road bike. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm game to share any information I may have. I've been running cameras, geez. Funny story about my first GoPro, and then we'll end this. My first GoPro was given to me just after moving to Los Angeles, probably 6 years ago. As I was opening it as a gift, my mother-in-law said, "For when you get hit by a car, we'd like video evidence of it." I've used it once so far being hit, and a few more times for people that have almost hit me on purpose and been able to turn them in with license plates. So they are super helpful, not only for this kind of stuff, but just for your general safety. Definitely run front and rear. One last comment, the Hero 4 Black, I run that at 2.7K 60. The reason for that frame rate is so I can have less motion blur. It shakes a lot. The Hero 7 Black has a really good auto stabilization built into it. I always run stabilization on it. That's how it filters out all the road vibrations, all the bumps. It really makes the footage super smooth so you don't get sick and you don't get a lot of image smearing. I don't have that option on the rear camera, so I run a high frame rate to compensate for that. It's not the greatest. I don't like using the rear footage all that much because of that and shake from the side to side from pedaling. So, but that's what I run in the rear. You can most of the time pick up license plates if somebody's messing with you. So with that, as always, have fun, be safe, get out there and ride.